That's
Yes.
awesome.
Wow. I'm gonna find out my family tree. Hyped. I don't know that much history about my family. Mexican side and Puerto Rican side. But the interesting thing with the Puerto Rican side is I know tons of lore, stories, things that I don't think is real. My grandfather had to escape Puerto Rico because he hooked up with his uncle's wife. He says he didn't do it. He did it. Us as Puerto Ricans, we have a beautiful history, but a history that I feel is limited, that I know within my own family, we don't know the whole story. So I'm gonna be working with Adriana Rivera, someone who is dedicated and works specifically with Puerto Ricans to figure out their family trees. And she's going to tell me her process, work with me for the next couple months, and at the end of it all, we're gonna have a big presentation with me and my whole ass Puerto Rican family and sharing her big reveal of what she discovered.
So I've been doing this for over 7 years, and I started doing it for my own family tree. And I still haven't finished my own family tree, and it's been over 7 years. And that's because, which is something you are going to learn when I do the reveal of your tree, that's because you're never done, really. And this is information that people, they don't teach us in school. Puerto Rican history is so rich. There's so much of it. It's so amazing. And it's really a shame because history has been colonized twice. First with the Spanish, then with the Americans, and our history has been completely erased. And history is usually written by the people in power.
Right.
So our colonizers haven't really had an interest in really showing us as Puerto Ricans the importance of our legacy and our history. So it's up to us to rescue it. So there's documents that live in churches, there's documents that live in archives, and documents are always being digitized and indexed. Mm-hmm. So when that happens, all of a sudden you have a new document that has always been there, we just haven't had access to before. You can use one of these platforms such as Ancestry.com, there's so many, MyHeritage, FamilySearch.com. So some people may disagree with me and may think that looking for US families is easier. I completely disagree because of first of all, because of the way the last names are. If your dad was also Eli Samuel Vazquez, and you're Eli Samuel Vazquez, and let's say your grandfather was also Eli Samuel Vazquez, it's hard to track. But if you're looking for Eli Samuel Vazquez Garza, and then you have Eli Samuel Vazquez Rosario, right?
Yeah.
And Eli Samuel Vazquez whatever, then you can keep track easier.
Gotcha.
Another thing that for me makes Puerto Rican genealogy easier is the fact that when we're talking about enslaved ancestors, the Catholic Church kept records and, for example, baptismal records. Okay, so now you're going to give me information so that I can build a starting point. Information on your grandparents and even your great-grandparents if you have it. And then from there, I'm gonna continue the search. There will probably be times where I may need to validate some information with you just to make sure that I'm going down the right path. And if you don't have the info, then, time to call abuelita.
Yeah, for sure. Currently texting Adriana, and she got all the results in. She was like, yo, we're gonna need like 2 hours. So tell your family we need like 2 hours for all the hot piping Puerto Rican tea that we're about to unleash on y'all. So she's like, but she did say she's proud of it. So I don't know what that means. I'm hoping that's a good thing. Hey, Adriana, what's going on?
Got all did up today.
Adriana, this is the Velasquez's
the gang.
Yeah,
La
everyone's
familia.
Here. I'm excited.
So let me give you the little rundown right before we start. So this is genealogy and your family tree. This has nothing to do with your DNA. That's completely separate. And Eli did send me his DNA results from 23andMe. And what that does is that does help to corroborate certain things. And it actually did, and we'll see that. So this is the presentation. So we're starting with Doña Rosa. Looking beautiful in her high school pictures. And then here we have a record of her record of marriage, right? So here's the tree. Here's Eli Jr., here's Eli Sr., here are the siblings. So here we have Rosa and Samuel, which we have Agustin Vazquez Sanchez, Rufina Carmona Rivera, and then on the mom's side we have Felipe Rosario Escobar and Maria Victoria Osorio Molina. So you all have very, very, very deep roots in Rio Grande. Now, Rio Grande was founded in 1840 in an effort to create a new town separate from Loíza. It was actually part of Loíza. Its founders were Desiderio and Quilamaco Escobar, which is a last name that you have in your family tree. So Felipe Rosario Escobar and Maria Victoria Osorio Molina, who are Eli's great-grandparents. And here is the 1940 census. This is a little clip of it. The 1940 census tells us what city, so Rio Grande, what barrio, so here they lived in Pueblo. So here we have a little family of two. They were just starting out. We have Rosario Escobar Felipe and Osorio de Rosario Maria. He is the jefe, which means the head of the house. Esposa, which is wife. The V and the H is for varón o hembra, whether they're male or female. Then this is the race column. So they are classified as colored. I don't know what this is. This is a special code for the census taker. Here we have the ages. So Felipe was 28 and Maria was 17.
It's so cool seeing like ancestries in the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s. Like, I don't know. This really inspired me to like take the census more seriously. Just be a part of the census, everyone that's watching this video later.
So let's look real quick at their marriage certificate, just because we have Doña Rosa here. So I want her to see the moment when her parents said I do. I'm sure this is special for her.
I can't believe it. It's so nice. Good memories, papi. Thank you.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you like it.
Thank you so much.
To another generation, so this is Maria Victoria's parents, Jesus Osorio and Julia Molina Orellano. This is Eli's great-great-grandparents, so this is Maria Victoria's parents. So this is the 1935 agricultural census, and here we have Jesus administrating and working the farm of Juana Ruiz Santiago. With Julia, we were able to find her parents, Marcos Molina Osorio and Jesusa Orellano. And we were able to go one more.
Oh my gosh.
To Jose Molina and Vicenta Osorio, who is Marcos's parents. Now, Jose was born around 1840 and Vicenta was born around 1843. So this is Doña Rosa's grandparents. And we actually have their marriage certificate as well.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So this
Wow.
and then here, this is really interesting. So you see the Jesus Osorio, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that little cross in between? That's his mark. That's his
Signature?
Yes.
Signature, yeah.
Yeah. So they would ask them to put their mark down because they couldn't read or write.
I'm curious how many people couldn't read and write during that time. Like,
most Puerto Ricans couldn't read and write until about the 40s and 50s in Operation Bootstrap.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
So we have Felipe's parents, Eustaquio Rosario de Jesus and Carmen Montero Escobar. So this is Felipe's parents. Eustaquio was born in Rio Grande on the 1st of November, 1884. Carmen was born in Rio Grande on the 27th of September, 1894. And here I actually found a picture of her. So this is Carmen. She was commonly known as Carmela. I'm sure you guys would have known her as Mama Carmela.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, even hearing this, some of the most beautiful names I've ever heard.
Wow.
Like, you know, people aren't called this anymore. Like, ideas for kids, names now after all this.
This is Eli's 3 times great grandfather, and now we see where the penmanship starts getting funkier.
Yeah.
Because this is,
Wow.
I mean, Alvaro was born in 1861, so this is old
Wow.
handwriting.
God, that's so cool.
So Alvaro had Eustaquio with a woman named Tomasa de Jesus, who is your ancestor. However, he was married to this woman.
Oh, I was gonna say there's some drama here. If she straight up says she's a widow, and there's a whole ass man that is alive. Wow.
Wow.
So he was officially married a Correo de los Santos.
He was officially a player. That's what he was.
He had all of these kids with Rosenda,
Wow.
and he had Eustaquio with Tomasa.
Dang.
Wow.
We're the product of a mistress relationship. We were the side pieces, guys.
So Tomasa and Eustaquio actually got together before he married Rosenda.
Oh.
Oh, that changed things. Now, through this presentation, we've seen mention of some of the, like here, for example, Cangrejo Arriba, Cangrejo Abajo. Also, when we talked about the incorporation of Trujillo Bajo and Carolina, we also saw a mention of cangrejos. So cangrejos is the part of town that is now called Santurce, but originally it was called San Mateo de Cangrejos, and it was actually a town built by free blacks, just like Loíza. But Loíza had a little bit more of a cimarrón background, an escaped slave background, whereas Cangrejos had more of a free people background. A royal decree in 1664 promised freedom to all African slaves in non-Spanish territories. Those black slaves fleeing from possessions of other European nations in the New World started to arrive to the island in search of freedom in the mid-17th century. So what happened was that Spain was feeling the competition from these islands that were in the Caribbean, but that were not belonging to them. So then we continue here. It says, not only was there an incentive of freedom in Puerto Rico, where slavery existed, but they would also obtain 2 acres of land in what is today known as Puerta de Tierra. Puerta de Tierra is in Old San Juan. But due to the low fertility of these terrains, the black colonials then crossed the bridge into other nearby territories. And we know that Rio Piedras is nearby, you know, Loíza is nearby.
Loíza, yep. Santurce.
Yeah. The Spaniards encouraged free people of color from British and French possessions in the Caribbean to immigrate to Puerto Rico to provide a population base to support the Puerto Rican garrison. So then, very quickly, let me go through these points. So after 1784, Spain provided ways by which slaves could obtain their freedom. So all of these are possibilities, right, for your family to have obtained their freedom from very, very early on. Many of these freedmen started settlements in the areas which became known as Cangrejos, Carolina, Canóvanas, Loíza, and And so I want to just point out real quick that the top one right here is Nigerian. And do you remember who settled Loíza?
Yeah.
Right here.
Black men who come people. Oh.
Was settled by Nigerian cimarrones, escaped slaves of the Yoruba tribe. So I say Eli Vazquez family tree is a beautiful testament of free blacks in Puerto Rico. Its history is rich and its journey is strong, from the creation of black towns and black neighborhoods to the acquisition of land and strong family ties, to the adaptation that were needed in order to survive in this new society. We also see the modernization of our people, and with it, the trials and tribulations of modern colonization and wealth extraction. This family exemplifies the rich tapestry that is Puerto Rican history. You all should be very proud.
That's right.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Wow.
It's awesome. I'm so grateful. I'm glad I saw this. I'm still, my voice, I feel like crying because it was really nice. It was nice. Thank you so much, you know?
I was really moved because I was always intrigued about my father's father. I never met him. And I always hear his stories when I was a kid in the garage with my father. My father and his father never had a relationship, like my father and myself, or me and Eli and my kids. It was just, it got me closer and closer and closer.
Just visualizing everything, you know, and you putting into that perspective for us. Oh, it's deep. This is really intense, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around the whole thing, because, you know, you took us back way to the 1700s. I mean, who does that?
I get a lot out of it too. I mean, I didn't know all of this history of the free Black people in Puerto Rico. Like, it's not history that is taught in schools. So it was really a gift to me as well to learn this side of Black Puerto Rican history, because
like, I do not know them personally, but all I want to do is just honor them the best I can. I want to just like do everything I can to make them proud, because all these sacrifices and all this struggle and perseverance resulted in me being here, and I want to be a reflection of that. And I think you also just let me just own my Blackness. I just want you to know you gave us like a gift that we're gonna have forever now.